Hi everybody, happy Wednesday, Hump Day Wednesday. So today's video, I'm going to talk to you about mental health. So, where to start really? Mental health is just as important as physical health. Mental health is something that I promote all the time. I have helped Mind, the charity Mind, on a few occasions now. I've organised raffles, done some things to try and raise some money for them, collaborated with a load of local businesses where we did, like I said, a raffle, and we raised about just over £500 for the local Mind charity, which I've been to myself. It's safe to say that over the last few years, mental health has become not as much as a taboo subject as it used to be. A lot of people used to feel quite ashamed about opening up about mental health and struggling and anxiety and depression and stuff like that. But even more so since now COVID, a lot more people now are going to be suffering with anxiety and stress. People that maybe have never suffered with anxiety before are now starting to feel the feelings of anxiety and getting freaked out because they don't quite know what's going on with them. Sometimes in, really bad circumstances, you can feel like you're having a heart attack. So for you to be told that it's just something that you're feeling in your head, it's quite hard to understand that. But for me, talking from experience, I have had CBT therapy. I have had counselling myself with the charity Mind. Back in 2018, towards the end of the year, I had an overwhelming sense of panic come over me. I just left my career job. So for those of you that don't know, I was in the banking world for about 16 years. I used to work. I've worked all over really, quite locally, and then the last 2-3 years or so of my career, I worked in Canary Wharf in London. I worked extremely hard to get where I was. I was a corporate services manager in a bank. Good salary, obviously London, so, happy days. But it got to a point where, especially after I went back to work after maternity leave, I really wasn't happy. I felt like I'd always give a lot, but then every time there was a promotion or something like that, I never got it. But my manager would always tell me I was one of the best workers on the team. So I felt like for a long time I was being really mugged off. So that, on top of other things, just made me really start to hate going into work. And sometimes money, if you're in a situation where you can say this, money isn't always everything. So, like I said, I hadn't been happy for a while. I'd gone back to work full time for a good year or so after my maternity leave. I asked to go part time. I wasn't allowed to. So that started to affect me as well, because I was like, I'm never seeing my son. I probably saw him for about half an hour a day. It just wasn't enough. And I could feel that, my relationship with him was suffering because of that. Two secs. I can hear my son's iPod whilst I'm talking on it. It's really irritating. So what was I saying? They wouldn't let me go part-time. So I was like, right, okay, so what do I do? So I kept thinking, well, what do I like? What do I enjoy doing? And I liked running at the time. I used to do a lot of running. So I got chatting to my husband and I was like, what can I do as a career that involves running? So I started looking on Google for franchises for sale, because when I was on maternity leave with my little boy, we went to loads of classes, Baby Sensory, Heartbeats, Joe Jingles. There was loads of things that we used to go to. And I was like, I wonder if I could run a franchise. So anyway, at the time, I was actually speaking to somebody who was selling a franchise near me. Nothing to do with running or fitness or anything like that. Started to get a bit more detail about it. I thought, this isn't for me. This isn't going to make me happy. This isn't what I want. So I kind of parked the idea there and carried on working in London. What happened next was I went to a medium reading, like an event where I live, where they read your cards and they can, some people believe in that. I do. I think it's great. So I went to this medium reading with a friend, and my nan hadn't long passed away. And I remember she was doing my cards and she was saying to me, like, you're thinking a lot about stuff at the moment to do with your career. You don't really know what to do. You're in limbo. And I was kind of just looking at her like, oh my God, yeah. I didn't say that, but I was like, okay, yeah. And then she was like, you're going to have to make a really tough decision, but I can assure you that whatever you decide, you will be happy with. So I was like, oh, maybe this is a sign. And my nan actually came through, and my nan had quite a unique name. And I remember thinking to this lady, is she having me on? So I said to her, okay, can you tell me my nan's name? She said it. And like I said, my nan's name was quite unique. It wasn't something you would often hear as an older lady's name, that I know of anyway. So I was like, oh my God, she's come through. So anyway, I was really emotional, went home, started doing some more digging around businesses and stuff like that, franchises. And then I thought, I wonder if there's like a fitness franchise. Did some Googling and I found one, which was the business that I used to run, which I'm not going to go into too much detail about now because I don't run it anymore. But I ended up giving in my notice to my manager in Canary Wharf, even though I hadn't officially bought the franchise yet and I hadn't actually qualified for what I needed to run the franchise. But I said to my husband, I said, like, I'm 30, I don't even know what I was then, 34 maybe, 33, 34. I was like, right, I'm not getting younger. I need to do this now if I'm ever going to do this. So I walked away from a really good salary to start my career all over again. And the reason I'm talking about this is because this is all around mental health as well, because I was not happy in my job. I was really depressed. I was anxious. So anyway, I took the leap of faith, got the qualifications I needed to set the franchise up, and I set it up. So towards the end of the year, 2018, so I'd been running the business for a couple of weeks, like my new franchise business, left my banking job in August, and I had this overwhelming sense of panic come over me. I don't know whether it was because subconsciously I was stressed about, have I done the right thing? Should I have left my London job? Have I left it too late to start a new career? And at the time, my husband was going through quite a lot of issues with his old job as well. So there was a lot of things going on in my head. And I started suffering with really, really bad anxiety, to the point where I was having to lie down on the sofa because I just felt so overwhelmed with everything. And I was having to continue running my job, like my self-employed business, because obviously if I didn't run it, I didn't get paid. So what made it worse for me was that I was having to run all my classes when I just had a massive anxiety attack. I was probably crying in the car literally moments before going into the hall to set up for classes. Now, the thing with me as well is I'm a good actor, so no one knew. By the time people arrived at that hall, I'd put my mask on and I had flipped myself over into a positive fitness instructor that was going to get me fit in that 45 minutes. But that took its toll because I didn't really speak about it. I kept brushing it off thinking I'll be all right. And it just kept getting worse. So, it took its toll. And then what I also did, which probably didn't help, is I then decided to sign up and qualify to be a PT. So when I bought the franchise, I'd done the fitness instructing qualification and pre and postnatal, but I wasn't a PT. So the year after I started having all this panic and anxiety feeling, I then decided to train up to be a PT, which was it took me 5 months to do it. And I had exams and I had coursework to do, and I was still trying to run the franchise that I was getting stressed out about, and there was so much going on. And I got to breaking point where I was crying, my heart was pounding all the time. it was bad. It was really bad. So if anyone has ever suffered with anxiety, that's what I was having. So I decided to seek help. So I reached out to my doctor to see whether or not there was anything I could do. They started talking to me about antidepressants. And I actually bought the antidepressants and brought them home. And I remember the doctor saying to me, like, read the leaflet and just make sure that you make the right decision. So she didn't say to me, I want you to take these. She said this might be an option. So I brought them home, read the leaflet, and I thought, right, let's try one more time to do this another way before I have to go down that route. Which isn't a bad thing if you are on antidepressants, but I just thought, let's try one more thing. 2 secs, babe. So I decided to use oils and 2 secs, guys. Keeping it real, guys, having to open the lid on the yoghurt top for my son. So, so I did oils, I used oils, and I started meditating. And the doctor that I went to see also put me in touch with a local company to do with counselling. So I was on the waiting list for 12 weeks with Thorough Mind, which I eventually ended up having. Very useful. Yeah, it was good. About a year or so before that, I'd had CBT. I think maybe 2 years before that, I had CBT because I was going through issues with other things, nothing to do with work, but it was more relationships, and it wasn't a relationship with me and my husband. It was other relationships, which I won't go into now. So I had CBT for that. A couple of years later, I counselling, and I also went to see a hypnotherapist. So I tried to do as much as I can to try and get my brain back into some sort of good, positive thought. So I had the counselling, it kind of worked. And then, it wasn't long after that we went into lockdown, was it? So my message here is that if any of what I've just said relates to you, then please make sure you reach out. Please don't keep everything bottled up. It will not help you. If anything, it will get worse. If you haven't got somebody that you can talk to, then there are loads of charities and different places that you can call to get help. Now more than ever, during lockdown. Myself, it's been a challenge trying to do everything now at home with homeschooling and keep my business alive and all that. And even now, I think, cool, if I had stayed in the London job, at least I would have had a steady income during the pandemic because I'm self-employed. I don't qualify for any grants, so I've had no government funding at all since we went into the first lockdown. So for me, every now and again, I think, did I do the right thing? Did I do the right thing? But, I am in a happier place because I took that leap of faith and I left the franchise business and I'm now focusing on PT and my business and bodybuilding and stuff like that. So I believe that everything happens for a reason, and I had to find that first, to find my feet and think, right, what is it I do want to do with fitness? Oh, okay, PT. Got into the PT side of things, really enjoyed that and thought, oh, okay, let's give bodybuilding a try. So there was no way that when I went to see that medium and I was still working in London, my goal was not to go on stage and do a bikini competition. But literally over the space of a couple of years, that is where I've worked myself up to be. So everything happens for a reason. I'm going to stop the video in a minute because I'm going to keep rambling. But if you feel like you are struggling mentally right now, please seek help. What I'll do as well is I'm going to try and find some references for loads of phone numbers like Samaritans, Mind and stuff like that. And I will try and post it on the end of this video so you've got some helplines that you can see and reach out to if you need it. Yes, there might be some waiting lists, but we just have to remember about how many people are suffering right now with this third lockdown. So sometimes when I post stuff on social media, people will look at me and go, she's all right, she's she's smashing her goals and she's doing what she wants to do and stuff like that. But you never ever know what is going on inside somebody's head. So now I'm a little bit more ruthless. And it's got to the point now where if I feel like I'm being mugged off, I will walk away from that situation. It can be a business situation. It can be a friendship situation. If there's something that I don't like or feel about that situation and it's doubting me, then I now walk away. So some people might say, well, that's chicken. You're being a bit of a chicken. But I know what I need to do to keep my mental health straight. So if it means walking away from situations that don't make me happy, then that's what I'm going to do. So that's another side of things as well that you can look at. Is there things in your life that you are doing or that you're not doing that can make you feel better? So that's another way of looking at things as well. So I'm going to leave it there. But the bottom line is that mental health is just as important as physical health. So although I promote physical health a lot on my page and my YouTube channel, I am doing a lot of videos when it comes to mindfulness, meditating, self-care, like this one, mental health in general, sleeping. Sleeping's important, and I've done a video on that. That helps with your mental health as well. So that's why I'm called PTP Wellness, because it's not just about PT, it's about the whole wellness situation, physically or mental. I hope that this has helped somebody out there. If this has made somebody think, I need to change something, or maybe I need to reach out to and speak to somebody, I have done my job today. So thank you very much for listening, and take care. Bye.